I came across a video that spoke about a 7-year-old black boy being forced to have oral sex by an 11-year-old, not once but twice. The 7-year-old tried to commit suicide twice. The mother went to the school and reported the incident first happened. They said they would take care of it, but they never did, hence the second time. Now, I know there's been this debate within the community, outside the community, saying that the black community is more homophobic, which it is not. That's a lie that's been put out there to benefit a certain group of people. But for some reason, people want to gloss around the fact that when young boys are exposed to sexual situations by male or female, confusion ensues. And especially if it's a gay male that interacts with a young black boy. Hence, you have this uptick in black boys thinking they're girls and acting like girls because they're confused because they've been put in the role of a female. You have to understand, little boys and little girls who haven't hit puberty yet don't understand the gravity of sex or intimate contact. Just imagine a 20-some-year-old man, oh hell, an 11-year-old is messing with a child that's 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And especially if that child mother and father have raised them to be as a child, meaning that they have not exposed them to the questionable things that we see our children being exposed to. So naturally, this 11-year-old boy, either he is in him automatically or he's seen something or something happened to him. Now, I would bet that he saw something he shouldn't have saw or somebody did something with him and he wanted to take it back and see how it felt. But he forced himself, so it tells you this kid is a bully and this kid is a potential threat. But nonetheless, I cannot help but sit back and say, if this 7-year-old father was in the picture, now maybe he is, maybe he isn't, maybe 7-year-old father deceased, because every black man that's not around their child life didn't do it on purpose, or even know these kids exist. There's a lot of cases where these men don't know their children exist. It isn't until these kids get 18 and 19 they find out they had a son and daughter. But that's another subject. But I've seen it. I've seen it now. I've walked in stores, countless clothing stores, electronic shops, grocery stores, where you see young black boys walk around like in this picture, thinking they're female because they've been exposed to something they should have been exposed to. Now, we've all heard of the stories where Catholic priests, which and you find in the media like to downplay that a lot, have interacted or had sex with young altar boys, and a lot of them, in a lot of cases, have sexual dysfunctions or have become gay because of their confusion. I'll give you another example why this. I remember watching the last season of Oprah when Todd Richards was on there, and he was talking about a friend of the family, a male, was molesting him, and he was confused. He started to think that was the norm, that he liked it. Because you have to understand, you haven't hit puberty yet, or you're going through puberty, and you're going to get aroused. I keep telling people, it don't take a lot for kids, young boys and young girls, to be sexually aroused because they're going through that stage of their bodies of development. And if it wasn't for Ty interacting with his co-star, was Dana Plato, the late Dana Plato, who she also had her own issues, Todd might have grown up, and he said he might have grown up thinking that he was gay. Now, some people take offense when you say that, but just think about it. You're a little boy. You haven't had any sexual experiences. You may not be going to puberty. You have some man push up against you, and this ain't gonna be said for girls, because this happened to girls too. But I'm speaking from a guy perspective. You don't know what's going on, and let me just be honest. Let's get real with it. Somebody touch you in that area, and you get excited or you feel pleasure. You're gonna think this is the norm. And people don't want to address that issue. People want to call people homophobe when we talk about that, but it's not necessarily the same thing. Y'all gotta excuse me, these allergies. Now, back to the father part of the story. If men are willing to lay down with a woman, and a woman's willing to let a man lay on top of her and penetrate her, both need to be aware they might produce a child, male or female. Okay? And at that point, it stopped being about the two older people. And I won't necessarily say adults because you have teenagers out here having children. But if you are an adult, You need to understand that you need to protect your son or daughter, especially black men protecting their sons, because if you take the black community ability of men away and their ability to reproduce away, our numbers dwindle. This is why people have been mad on for going after the black male. Ask yourself something. When black women talk about down low or talk about gay men being nasty, you never hear people go to black women. They always go back to black men. See, you start attacking the black man, or you get him to the point where he just, I agree with this mindset, this idea about somebody's sexuality, when you know deep down that it's not right, and it's not right for you, I should say. Now, when I see this image of this young brother, I get sick to the stomach, and also I feel sorry for him because he's confused. You're not a female. You are a young man. Someone in his life, he's been influenced by some or had experience, or he's just confused. This is why I say, men, if you're not going to take care of your responsibility, get a vasectomy or wear a condom. Or females, if you think this guy's not up to snuff, stop letting these guys run and you raw. Take proper precautions. Because our boys are being picked off systematically. If the streets don't get them, homosexuality will. Now, a lot of y'all going to get pissed off at me when I'm saying it, but you have to understand something. What does an 11-year-old boy know about oral sex? Let alone forcing a 7-year-old to do it not once or twice. And why didn't the school system take the proper precautions? The moment that mom went to that school should do an investigation. They should have separated them students. They do this because it's not a strong male. I'm going to tell you something. I remember when I was a kid, if I had gotten any altercation, my father was right there to just let his presence be known. Because at times when my dad was at work or my mom tried to handle it, and no disrespect to my late mother, she was force-fed BS. And then my father came home, he said, wait a minute, you know your son, you know the situation. What did your son say? Did you hear both sides? This is why I say this has been a concerted effort to keep the black man out of the family. Because of situations like this. Y'all remember when those teachers were teaching those kids back, I think in Atlanta, maybe the Georgia area, about slavery with math? And they were saying how many slaves are on the tree, all this stuff. It was black men that was vocal about that. Did you notice when the black men, the more vocal we are, whether we right or wrong, the tax increase? Now, before y'all get mad at me and say that I'm saying that homosexuality somehow equates criminal behavior, y'all got to be honest. Sandusky, a white man, was molesting children, quote unquote, underprivileged children. That's code word for black kids or some white kids that haven't met white standards of culture or financial status. You know, they made sure they didn't show the mothers because they didn't want y'all to start putting two together. Right now in our schools, as we speak, there are adults taking advantage of our children, male and female, and this is why some of our little girls either become very promiscuous or they become repulsed by sex or men in general. Y'all gotta understand there's a correlation with this, and as soon as black men start stepping up and start demanding better from the community, from ourselves, and from the women we interact with, they wouldn't do this. They wouldn't go after our children. I mean, every week it's a story of teachers preying on our children or adults letting children do inappropriate things. And I'm going to say something. At one time, I used to sit there and say it was all white women doing this, but there's been a string of black women in media that have been having sex. And matter of fact, it was a sister that just reported had a sex with a then 12-year-old student. I think the kid's now 17. It's because these teachers or these adults who are in positions of authority are taking advantage of people in single-parent situations. This is why I say black men, we have to step up. Whether we have children or not, we gotta be out here putting this shit on blast. This is why I say this whole gender war thing was agitated by outside influence. Why brothers and sisters are jaw jacking with each other, our children are being left vulnerable, and people don't see it. No, I'm not going to sit here and say that I think it's normal for a man to think he's a woman to think they're a man. It's not normal. Now, if you gang, that's your business, but some of this is utter confusion. This is why I get mad at some of our brothers for not doing right by themselves or fighting. Look, man, I understand you may be broke, but you should have thought of that. You should have went and bought your pack of $3 or $4 condoms, and you should have handled your business. Now we got our boys and girls walking around confused. It's an uptick in this because they're taking advantage of single parent situations, or they're taking advantage of parents who are not ready to be parents, or parents who are afraid to say stuff. 7-year-olds forced to have oral sex by 11-year-old. This 11-year-old has been exposed to some, or this 11-year-old just have it in him. But this 7-year-old is going to be forever traumatized. This 7-year-old is going to be forever questioning sexuality. Or this 7-year-old might go to the extremes to prove that he's not gay, or that he's not weird in some way. That's what they think. If you don't believe me, Tyler Perry even said he was molested. And we all got a pretty good idea which way Tyler goes. Now, I could be wrong. And forgive me. And maybe because he's dressing as Madea too much and does it so well, that might be where I might be thrown off. But you ain't wrong about this shit. This is why I say, fathers, if you have a son, you love your son, you need to be in that boy's life. You need to try to set a positive role for him to follow. This is why I love my father to death. I mean, I don't always agree with my father, and we butt heads, and I think that's what men do when you reach a certain age, because you have different experiences and things of that nature. But my father was still in my life from day one up until this point. My father taught me certain things. My father exposed me to things, and things that he thought was adult, he shielded us from him. But when it got to a point we was getting older and we started to ask questions, he didn't lie to us. Sure, there was those moments of awkward conversations. But I'd rather take my father in those awkward situations than not having a father in my life to tell me, hey, son, this is what guys do. This is what guys don't do. We don't allow people outside the community or people with sinister motives to manipulate us or get in our business. No, it's not normal for little black boys to walk around dressing like Barbie. No, it's not normal for little black girls to walk around thinking they can fight like a boy or climb trees or do things that at some point you need to step away from. Masculine things, I should say. I don't have a problem with women playing sports. In fact, some women play it better than some dudes that I know. But there's certain things that you got to question. And our black boys are being singled out by these adults. Male adults, usually outside the community. Or even some of these teachers, because they're confused. This is why I say we probably might need to start having sex education in our schools. We need to get the churches to step up. This is why we need to put question behavior on blast in our community, because it's confusing our young brothers and sisters, especially our brothers. This is why these little boys walk around with their asses showing. They don't realize what that it represent. You got these boys walking around with these fucking skinny jeans, putting makeup on, eyeliner. This is the bitchification of the black male, and a lot of y'all don't see it. A lot of y'all think this shit is cute. It's destroying our people from within. If the drugs and weapons don't get you, or the sexually transmitted disease don't get you, your ability to reproduce, to want to reproduce, will get you. We got to do better, black men. We got to step it up. We got to defend. We got to protect our boys and girls, but especially our boys, because our boys seem to be most vulnerable to this shit. Why do you think everybody's so fascinated with black men's sexuality? Think about it. Whether it be in cartoons, TV shows, sitcoms or whatever, they always talk about the black male's penis. But yet at the same time, they vilify it. But the reason why, they want to control it. They're going to control where he using and how he use it. And they want to be the ones to do the controlling. Think about it. Back during slavery, even back as recent as 40-something, maybe just recently as a couple of years ago, maybe even last year, when a black man is murdered by a white person, what do? They usually fuck around with their genitalia. Now today they don't report on it as much because they don't want people to start focusing back on that. But a lot of us know that usually when a black man is mutilated or harmed, they focus on his genital area. It's about penis area. It's about control. It's about an unhealthy obsession with the black male sex organ. A lot of y'all don't see it because y'all have not been exposed, or you're afraid to admit the truth. Brothers, we gotta step it up.